Guys, welcome back to Red Bandit Racing. In today's video, we're gonna fix the MAXX. We did have a bad accident and we crashed it, and sorry about the shaking. We actually broke the rear bulkhead, and if you can see here on the back, right here, it's actually missing a piece that broke off that goes onto the end here, which holds these pins together, and it actually broke right off the bulkhead. And when it broke, the arm came out, and when the arm came out, the drive shaft pin, if you can see that drive shaft pin, also came out. So it was a pretty bad wreck, but that's all that broke. It really wasn't much, and it's not going to take much to fix it. So what I have here for you is a rear bulkhead. You can see that part number 8928, and that's actually going to come with the bottom piece right here and the top, and I'll show you that in a second. Take that off for you. It's going to come with the bottom piece just like this, goes right on there, and the upper piece, and this is where your gears sit in. We're not going to replace this one, so we're going to use this one as a backup. We're also going to replace the rear pin holder, which is this piece right here. Might as well replace it because it got beat up a little bit. So we're going to put a new one in there. We got some new pins, part number 8941. I'm sorry, the other part number is 8916, and I'll show you these in a minute. And the skid plate, we actually reordered these skid plates, so we will have a couple coming in soon, and we're going to replace both. So I'm not going to bother putting it back on when we're done, because we're actually replacing them. And that's it. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're just going to take these pins out and adjust this a little bit so you can see. That's it. You're just going to keep it separated like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take these screws out. There you go. And this would be a good time for you guys to do your inspections on your gearing, make sure everything's okay. Good time to clean it up too, because it does get quite dirty. And we're going to go ahead, and this one just pulled right out. I can take it out by hand. So what we're going to do with this is, doesn't look like there's any damage to the axle. We do have new ones, part number 5145. We're going to go ahead and replace some of those. Don't want to reuse those. So let's go ahead and pop those out real quick. That way you can pop the axles out, and you can just let them hang right there. That's all you got to do. And you can literally take your rear diff out, inspect it. There you go, I'm sorry. Inspect it, make sure nothing's wrong with it, check the gears, get everything nice and clean, and then you can put it back in. These bearings all look really good. Everything still looks really clean. If you guys are wondering how often you should actually re-grease everything, depending on how hard you run it, I would do it every 3 months. But if you run your MAXX pretty hard, I mean, even if we're talking about a rust or anything like that, if you run them pretty hard, I would do it a little bit more often. Just squeeze that out, inspect. All the teeth look good. These bearings look good, so we're going to put that aside, get that cleaned up, and we're going to look in here, make sure there's nothing bad in there, clean that up a little bit. Everything is clean. But yeah, I would service these every couple of months. If you run them real hard, do it every 2 to 3 months. And while you're in there cleaning them up and re-grease them, I would go ahead and take your diff apart, replace the fluid. It is recommended if you drive pretty severely, every 3 months, and I was told that by Traxxas. And I would agree, because we took the rusters apart and they were pretty dirty, and we had only been bashing them for probably about 2.5 months. So I set on my calendar every 3 months to do all of our cars. That way you actually maintain their durability and longevity, and they actually do last a lot longer when you maintain them. So that's a good idea to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up a little bit, get this cleaned up, and replace that bulkhead. I know you probably can't see this, I'm going to try my best to hold it up for you. Right here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. Right there. That's a stress crack. So it looks like we are going to go ahead and replace the entire bulkhead. That is going to be the top and the bottom. Didn't look like it hit that hard, but that's a pretty big crack. So since we already have the parts, you might as well replace them. And we're going to go ahead and take the top off. Squeeze that top off. Then take out your spur gear and your pinion. Make sure you inspect everything every time you guys take something apart. And I believe you can flip it back over. Slide those two pins out. Separate that. There, it's a little bit easier to work on. Don't get intimidated, guys. It's really not that hard to work on these. You just gotta remember where everything goes. It's always good to have a little parts organizer so you can remember where they go. Loosen it up. Okay, so it slides out, guys. Like I said, I've never taken one of these apart. So you take that back shock tower off, like that. This piece is going to slide in and out, just like that. Okay? So this would be a really good time to go ahead and get everything cleaned up. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'll be right back. I'm going to get all the sand out of this, make sure it's nice and pretty. All right, guys, now that we got that all nice and cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and put the new one in. Slide it just in like that. And go ahead and put the sorry if I can't see that. The top back in. Just make sure you're not over tightening them. Line the back up like that. That's just a brace back here that moves around. Just keep that nice and lined up. Anything with stress cracks or worn out bearings, that kind of stuff can really cause a problem for you down the road. Yeah, that's in there just like that. Now you're gonna put the cover back on. There you go, got that. Remember, guys, I've never done this. I'm doing this first time with you guys, so don't be intimidated. Anyone can do it. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is get everything nice and greased up. I want everything nice and clean. Since you already got it all the way taken apart, it makes no sense to just replace what's broken without doing some cleaning. Go ahead and put this back together. Put that bearing right there. Put your pin back in. That guy's going just like that, and that other bearing is going to sit right on it, just like that. And that's going to drop in there just like that. It's kind of a tight fit. There you go, just like that. You'll want to put the grease on this side, so don't put any grease over here. You don't want to do that. It's just going to make a mess because everything's going to go inside. As you can see from here, I mean, this is it does get a little bit dirty, a little bit of greasy, a little bit of bypass from the rear axle, but you mainly just want to get the rear end greased. I did inspect it, nothing looked bad. All this grease is still actually extremely clean. There's nothing in it. So I'm going to take my marine grease by Dynamite. You can get it almost anywhere, any hardware store. This stuff works great. It is high temp. And take it, smear it in, and that's it. You don't need to overcoat it. You don't need to put too much in there. You'll end up just making a big mess. It only goes in one way, guys. You got the big bearing holder right here and the small one. It's going to go in there just like that, nice and tight. And there you go. We can get the rear cover put on because we can worry about all that other stuff later. I'm going to put the rear cover on. like that. Fits on there nice and snug. Just like that. I'm just gonna start the outer ones. I just like getting them started. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work my way from the center out. Just like that. You don't want them too tight, you just want everything snug. Remember guys, it's just plastic. You're not holding in Fort Knox or nothing. Put these shocks back in. This, I didn't take anything apart, so you just have to have a little bit of patience when you're doing it this way. But I mean, I've done a lot of them, so I tend to keep everything together. It makes it a little bit easier for me. Okay. Now I gotta flip it over, put those in right there. Now the bottom's in. Go ahead and put the axle on. Now with a pick. Just like that, so you can see it. Put that in. Just like that. Do not put any kind of Loctite on, guys. I don't know if you know this, but I didn't know this until later. But Loctite will actually eventually eat away at the plastic. So don't use any Loctite. If you guys are having problems with these set screws coming out, use a little bit of shoe goo. A little bit of shoe goo that I'll put it in, that'll keep it from backing out. There's a front and a back that come in that kit. If you can see, the holes are a little bit different. So just be aware of that when you're doing this. Got that in, so got that nice and replaced. Brand new. So now we're going to go ahead and slide this guy in. It's going to go facing backwards, just like that. That's where the pins are going to sit in. Alright, that's tight. Sorry guys, it's getting a little dark. We have our new pins. I'm going to take our pins, put them on our lower control arms. Oops, sorry guys about the camera. Slide them in just like that. Then you got your metal bracket here. I'm gonna put that in. Just like that. Back in goes right there. All right, and that's gonna screw in just like that. That plate's gonna hold in the back. We're not gonna put this on just yet because I do have new scrape plates coming. So we're gonna leave it apart the way it is until we can replace that. And then everything will be ready to go. And that's as easy as it is. Looks like a lot of work, but I mean, you can have it done fairly quick. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment. If you guys want some part numbers, I'll go ahead and throw that in there with it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. Thank you.